Ladies and gentle hands, it's true. We will be adding lore to our Minecraft world. Now, I've spent a lot of time in this world, and places like White Bridge have a lot of world building behind them, you know? But I think adding physical text that gives a bit more context to certain locations, like the ruins here, or there's also some ruins right past there. To give you a little taste of what I'm talking about, let's read. This church-like building comes from unknown origins. Archaeologists date this construction of this building to 24 BB. That stands for before Barce. About 24 years before the establishment of Nisida in 0 AB, which is after Barce. Or maybe that's during Barce? I'm not... You know, it's our own world, so we can come up with our own naming schemes and like year system and everything. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to do before Barce and after Barce to be like my influence on the world, you know? Historians believe this building was constructed as a hub for travelers attempting to travel through the harsh winter conditions of the now White Bridge. The baptism pool remains from construction made of igneous, deep slate, and basalt. Now, I thought it'd be fun to add in this little tidbit here too, just to add a little bit more to the ruins here, but also as just a little tidbit for, you know, like the church-like idea that the archaeologists came up for this building. You know, maybe the baptism pool there was kind of the pushing them over the edge of being like, okay, this is probably a church. So yeah, I've gone around the world and added in even more lore books to certain little spots. Like right over here, I've added in a fancy book, but it's gonna be kept secret only for my channel members. So yeah, for the world download, I think it'd be really cool to add these books in and for you guys to explore the world yourself and read up on, you know, the world building that I've established and maybe a little bit of the story and the history of the valley and the world and all of its glory. And speaking of glory, I want to add a very glorious ruins building right up on this hill, right past the bridge. There's a nice little flat spot there that could work really well as a little bit of a transition into the Wither Gorge area right past there. I'm very excited to work on that. It's an awesome build. But also, we need to be excited about the interior of the art museum. Yes, it's finally time. Earlier this week, we did a little bit of a live stream. Shameless reminder to turn on notifications and subscribe. Tee. And we finally carved out the rest of the interior for the art museum. We got our 3 wings established. These 2 wings right here and here will be our art gallery, which we'll get into a little bit later in the episode. And also we have our new storage room that'll go right here. I'll turn on gamma so you guys can see a little bit better. But right here will be our big old chest room. We'll kind of have it similar to our current chest situation, but there'll just be more chests for me to sort into, and also just a little bit of a nicer room to be hanging out in all the time. But first things first, I think I want to work on the ruins over on the mountainside over by White Bridge, way past the church here. I have a really fun idea for it, and I'm super excited to get started on it, so I think we should just get started on it. So of course, as always, sit back, relax, and enjoy the montage. All right, y'all, the ruins are complete. And look at them over there. This is probably the most ideal distance to look at it from. It's pretty awkward to see it on the road, but let's go up and get a closer look at it because I think it looks so freaking awesome. So here we are approaching the ruins, looking oh so fancy up on the hillside here. I absolutely love it. Just a little bit of eye candy when you're driving on by, especially right here when you're like coming around the corner. It is such a pretty little sight to see in the foreground as you look out into the rest of the valley. Now let's park Mueller right there and let's get a closer look at this bigger build. Now I wanted to add in a few flower fields on the sides of the building. So there's a pink flower field right here with a little bit of a hidden brang coral on the inside, you know, using a little bit of, what are these called? The copper grates to waterlog the brang coral so it doesn't die. This is probably a bit better of an angle to look at it from, but look at this beauty of texturing. Oh my goodness, I'm so proud of myself with the texturing. So as you can see, we have a lot of these gray tones mixed in with a little bit of green and a little bit darker too with the tuff always mixed in. Looks so good with the mossy cobblestone. And of course we have moss everywhere because we want this place to feel very overgrown. Little hints of hanging root, although this hanging root is quite off to the side there. That looks crazy. Little hints of brown as well with some dripstone in there. I think dripstone and rooted dirt. I think dripstone and rooted dirt work super well together because the little light lines of like the roots inside the dirt blend super well with the light parts of the dripstone, and they just kind of blend really well together as like a sort of a hardened dirt right there on the dripstone. Now, one of my favorite parts about the build is the intricacy of these windows. Yes, it looks a bit better from a more of a flat angle, as you can see from Cheaty Cam, but I wanted it to feel very detailed. I have a reference picture I was referencing. I guess I can throw it up on screen right here. Yes, do you see the resemblance? So we have these big arched windows with a little bit of a split here in the middle with the stone walls, and we're using some glass panes here to really get the shape of the walls that we want to kind of extend out and to make these feel connected. I did that a little trick here, you know, with this kind of going to the right and to the left with a fence gate in the middle and then some glass panes there. And I also threw a glass pane on the back just to get a little bit more of a central pillar looking thing here, because if I don't have that glass pane in the back, it looks like a flat slab kind of. Then we got these windows over here too with a very narrow arch. I wanted to have a narrow arch here. I'm using some walls and using levers to complete the arch. I think it looks very cool. Then on the sides of the building here, we have these big arches, a lot of arches, I guess, right? I guess that's what a lot of Victorian, like kind of church sanctuary buildings kind of have a lot of. So this is a nice, unique arch, very obtuse feeling, you know? Then on the inside, we have a little bit of the floor, the deep slate floor with some cracks in it, a little bit of a concave right here, you know, moss going everywhere. You got to make it feel overrun. Then we have another book of lore here that I will not be exposing, but I think the lore contents are very cool. Then if we hop back on Bueller here and kind of come around the corner, I'm not sure if I showed it when I was approaching, but there's a nice little rose bed right there on the left side of the build. And I think it just adds a nice little color pop to the whole building. And just like incorporating the whole flower aspect of the Dutch fields down there, I want this area to feel a bit Dutchy, although this building is not very Dutch inspired, very Victorian inspired, but you know, they're similar enough, right? So eventually those little flower fields there will feel a little bit more incorporated with the rest of the terrain. We kind of started one right here a bit earlier when we were doing some terraforming, but when we renovate this village here, it will feel very much in place and very cool little eye candy out in the distance. It kind of has a similar vibe to this building out here where it's kind of just there to act as a really cool little reference point. You know, just some distant ruins when you're walking around in the valley or walking around in the world. It just looks so cool to look at every so often, kind of see it in the corner of your eye. It's not supposed to drag your full attention. Here it is again from a distance. You kind of just see it right past the bridge there. I think it works so well. And especially when we get the village up and running, it'll really help kind of just balance out the whole village being over on this side. And then on the right side of the windmill, we have a nice little ruins over there. Hello, zombies. Now, if you're observant and you pay attention to my XP bar, good job. You can make sure I'm not cheating. But if you didn't notice, I think in the previous episodes, I was at level like 140 or so. And now we're at level freaking 26 looking like a noob. But we have this brand new tool deposit box full of epic pickaxes, all with mending and unbreaking and maxed out efficiency. Same with these shovels here. I decided to spend all my experience on making these just to be a little more convenient for when I'm clearing out big areas of terrain and like stone and stuff. Because when I was working on clearing out the interior of the art museum on stream, I was really struggling to repair my pickaxe like probably 3 or 4 different times I had to go do it. So it's nice to just have that toolbox now where I can kind of just pick out a little diamond pickaxe and keep digging, and then I can repair them all at once, you know, at my Enderman XP farm or whatnot. All right, so the first thing I want to do over here at the art museum now is I want to work on a nice path leading straight up to the entrance right there. Right now we have to kind of parkour through the vineyard, and it's not very fun, I will admit. I'm kind of thinking we just clear out some of the vineyards and make a nice vertical path going straight to the door. Maybe we can kind of, you know, wind it a tiny bit, but not too much. And I think that'll be a nice little way in. I'm tired of getting stuck on these berry bushes, so let's deal with that really quickly. Cue the mini montage. Look at that beautiful staircase leading right up to the art museum. Oh my goodness gracious. The curve on this staircase and like the incline was not easy to get, but I'm glad I got it. It's a very smooth ride all the way up. Using a nice little tough brick and a little bit of polished tough, little palette right here. Similar to what we did on the streets over here. If you're familiar, we used these types of streets right here all throughout this little upper section of the, like the city side, I guess, the roads, what do I want to call this? The town side? The city streets? Oh, the city streets, yes. I do think in the future, maybe somewhat soon, we should probably replace this grass and stone road with that tough one, just to be a little bit more consistent. And maybe when we get up to like this level here, we can transition back into like this, the stone paths, just so we don't have to redo all the terrain or all the roads around the area. But I think we do need to make it a little bit more consistent with these paths, because I think this is the type of street that I want to be a little bit more prevalent inside the Italian village. I like this little road though, because it shows off a little bit, a little bit more of a height advantage and a different angle of the city that you typically don't see. Like, you don't really ever see it from this angle unless you're intentionally, like flying in from the cyberpunk city, or like you're up in the top of the vineyard, before at least. But now we have the art museum. We have some nice views from up here, I'm not gonna lie. I really like the Nisita view from up here. And I also really like the cyberpunk city view over there. But this view, this ugly plains area right here, just right past the birch forest, such an eyesore. There's nothing going on here, so we need to fix that in our future. But let's not get too distracted. I think it's time for us to actually work on the art museum interior. Mwahaha. I don't know where the evil laugh came from. Anyways, what I'm thinking for this interior is I want to do a lot of the poles, these like support beams right here that we used on like the exterior. I want to use a handful of those on the interior, kind of be a little consistent with the whole, architectural design that we have going on. And I want a nice spiral staircase on both sides leading up to the upper area right back there. We'll be kind of coming along the edge, looking nice and fancy. And then we got the two different wings on the left and the right. And I'm thinking we'll just have these be our big old art gallery exhibits on the left and the right walls of each wing. And then at the end, maybe we make some sort of like statue or something cool to look at. And then right here on this side is, of course, going to be our storage room. I feel like I'm repeating myself. I might have already talked about this a little bit. And with how big these floors are, I think it gives a lot of room for us to have some fun with some floor designs. So I'm thinking we do some big old carpets and rugs, and then some intricate, like, fancy looking floor vinyl designs, whatever. I mean, it's a museum, right? It needs to feel artistic. Now, the last little detail that we also need to fit in is, we have these two spiral staircases that are going to be on the side, and I think there should be something in the middle. I guess there's a beacon right now, but it won't be here for much longer. So yeah, something in the middle. I think we might end up doing a statue of some sort. I'm trying to think of some fun design that won't, like, kind of take up the whole viewing angle of, walking in, because I still want this to feel very grand when you walk in, and you see the big old poles on the sides and the big old arch over there and all the fanciness going on. I don't want to interrupt that with a statue in the middle, so we'll have to think of something that isn't too doesn't obfuscate. I don't want something that obfuscates the view. Oh man, what a word. But I think it's time to let me cook. So of course, as always, sit back, relax, and enjoy the montage. All right, here's the big reveal. Boom. Here is our interior for the art museum, and I am so happy with how this turned out. So like in my visions, we have our 2 spiral staircases on the left and the right, and I love the curve on these things. Oh my goodness gracious. Shout out Axiom for having such a good like curve path tool that you can use to create, you know, slopes like this. Oh my gosh, I absolutely love it. Then of course, as you can see, we have our big old pillars holding up the whole place together with some nice arches, connecting them up together. I love the arches. It's such a good little design for the roof. I really like it. So we have 2 arches. We have the orange arches, and we also have these diorite arches that are a little bit further inset. I wanted to, you know, keep the palette of the orange and the white. So I think having the 2 different types of pillars kind of work together is a great little motif we have throughout the build. Then we have our 2 art galleries, which are missing some art. Hello. So here is my call to action for you guys. If you are an artist, I want to see your art in my world. My plan is to make some custom paintings for all y'all, so you can put up your fan art, or if you like draw some scenery of my world, I would absolutely love to feature it in here and like credit you and everything. I think it'd be a really fun way to like kind of, you know, incorporate you guys into my world, because you are the reason I am still playing this world. So of course, all the information you're going to need is going to be in the Discord. Make sure to join in the description below, discord.gg/barce. You know, let me help you guys out. Let me make some custom, like little painting sizes for you guys so you have some references. All right, well, I ran out of smooth stone for these grids, but as you can see, pretty simple. There's some 4x2s. Yes, width time height. Yes, I didn't forget my math. Got some 2x2s, some 1x2s, and then over here we have some really big ones. These are like some 2x8s, all right, here on the left and right. And then like a 3x8 over here as well. I think that's 8. Yes, 3x8. Yeah, lots of little different sizes you guys can fill out. Well, you know, there'll be a form, and all the other information will be in Discord, which will be hopefully very easy to follow. And don't worry about converting it to look like a Minecraft painting or anything. I'll be doing all that fancy graphical stuff. All right, enough distraction with the art gallery. Here is our big behemoth, our main central piece. We have this very nice, like, Roman-looking arch, which I think fits the architecture of, like, all of the, you know, in the Sita area, our Italian village. It's very, you know, Italian feeling. You know, we got the whole, you know, Rome and, like, Italian architecture in this area. Then we have some more of these arches in here, these mausoleum entrances. I don't know exactly what to call them, but this will be where all of our chests are stored. I have a really nice and neat idea for organizing in here, which will be very nice compared to our current storage room. And then we have a nice little workstation over here with a little fern, because it's my favorite plant. Now also, if you've noticed, we have some really fancy carpets all over the place. We have a red carpet over here. We have a nice central blue one. The cyan with the orange accents is definitely my favorite, with the little acacia signs underneath some carpet to kind of connect these up. Make a nice little like circle shape. Oh, it's so subtle. It's so nice. Then on the wings, on the art gallery wings, we have these yellow carpets, which are also very nicely, you know, colored in. And just using glow lichen to kind of have that fanciness little like vinyl look is what I keep going to. But having the glow lichen act as some sort of texturing for the carpets is so nice and so subtle. And it works super well on this blue carpet especially, and it works really well on this red one as well. Oh my goodness gracious. All right, but now I want to build the statue that's going to go right here, and I might get a little carried away too, because I've been looking at these hallways, and the ends of them are pretty boring, so maybe we make some statues at each end of the hallway. But first, let's make a nice statue here, and this will be my own custom art piece. So I drew out a little sketch, but essentially I want like a guy kneeling on one knee and then having his other knee up and then pouring out like a bucket of water. And I think I want him headless. I don't know why I want him headless. I think it would look cool. All right, let's try it out. All right, boom. There's my art piece. Hope you guys enjoy it. Wait, I gotta name it. Like any real artist, like a real sculptor, I need to name this thing, and we're gonna name it the Headless Donor, and it's priced at $3 million. Yeah, I like this. I like the little water feature on it. It's a very simple shape to understand. You know, it looks like a guy kneeling. I think it does, at least. You know, you got the one knee fully down, you got the one knee kind of propping up the rest of the body, then you have the water bucket kind of dumping out and doing whatever water dumping stuff. All right, maybe we make some other statues on the ends here. I'm thinking it could be kind of cool to do some sort of like guardian statue. Like, I don't know, it kind of ties into the lore that I don't want to expose, but the guardians do make some sense, and we'll make them out of quartz. All right, boom, we got our 2 different little guardian statues on the left and the right. I love these guys with their little mangrove swords. So freaking sick. I wanted to look like they had armor, and I went really fancy and intricate with it, and I think it does a pretty good job with it. And we got their little quartz face up there with like the pillar block. I don't know why, but I think that looks so cool. I tried using an observer because I thought it'd be kind of quirky to have an observer face, but I like the whole, you know, quartz uniformity of it. So we're sticking with the quartz there. Oh, and one last thing I forgot to point out, but look, we have these big old fancy chandeliers. Oh my goodness gracious. What is that guy doing? Oh, okay. Yeah, look at these chandeliers. Holy moly. So grand. I love this design. I think this is the same or very similar design to the one that we use inside the church. But I got a little more intricate with this middle one here. I want it to feel really big and grand. You know, it is central to the whole room. And then we have these smaller ones in each of the wings, and then 2 up front there. Very nice. But anyways, y'all, this episode has taken me way longer than I wanted it to. But of course, thank you all so much for watching. As always, I really do appreciate it. If you liked the video, make sure to like the video. If you liked me, you should subscribe. And if you really liked me, consider joining as a member. Big shout out to all my producers on the left side of the screen right now. Oh my gosh, thank you all so much for supporting me. I appreciate it. And of course, I'll see you all next week. Bye.